Yo, what's the dealio, man? Listen, you already know I got a straight banger for you today, all right? So listen, y'all, this is the Sunday setup. I cannot go live today, but you already know I ain't gonna leave you hanging, right? I got 3 setups for you this week. We're gonna review what happened last week. We're gonna look over the SPY. We also gonna look over IWM as well, right? So make sure you got your notepad, your pen and your paper. You already know I'm gonna give you the absolute exact levels as well for entries on trades, okay? So be sure to lock into this video and let's get this money this week, man, all right? Before we go into it, I wanna say, starting this week, what I'm gonna start doing is every evening, I'm gonna do a live charting session, okay? I'm gonna do a live charting session. So I'm gonna be on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, and Thursday nights, right? 4 days a week, I'm gonna do a live charting session. It's gonna be usually around maybe like 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 or 9 Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific, right? So be sure to turn your notifications on every evening night, right? Weeknight that we're trading, that the market is open. I will be doing a live charting session, all right, on YouTube Live right here, right? So make sure you don't miss that, all right? So we have a big week this week, all right? We got earnings. We didn't have bearish momentum for the past 2 weeks. We've been selling off as well, okay? Now it's like, what's going to happen this week? What they did was they scared everybody out their positions. We may come a little bit lower, but I do think that we are getting ready to bounce and go to the upside, okay? I want you guys to understand this right here. Trump does not want a bad economy, right, under his presidency. So this trade war and stuff like that, you got to understand what's really going on. He's a master of volatility, okay? So he's going to say things so that the market could become volatile, so people could get in low and ride it up to the highs, okay? So I just want you guys to know and understand that. Now I'm gonna break down the charts. Y'all already know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break down the charts and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what's happening and what's gonna go on, all right? So let's go through last week's watch list because I want you guys to see how my watch list performed every single week, okay? I'm not just throwing out random stocks and saying, hey, go buy this. I'm really here to help you learn how to execute rather than just telling you what to buy, okay? It's not like that over here. I want to help you with the mental side of it and the execution side of it as well, all right? So let's go into it and we're going to lock in on it, all right? So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go over last week's watch list, all right, and what I had said. So we said, boom. All right, cool. So the first one that was on my watch list from last week was right here. All right, we had Google. All right, I said Google, and I said we could bounce off right here. All right, and let's see what Google ended up doing. Okay, so we got Google. Now, here's what Google did. What I said last week, I said we could come lower. I gave you guys the levels that Google could come to, right? I said we could come lower and bounce off of one of these levels, or this could be we could gap up. And I said I would not be surprised if the market gapped up last Monday. What did it do? It gapped up, okay? They playing games with everybody, right? So right here is what happened. It closed at 236 on last Friday. And then look what happened. It gapped up and it's been going up. It went up all week last week. All right. And then what happened? We ended up, we rejected up here. We rejected up here, but we came right back down. So it's looking like Google wants to continue going up. But last Friday, right? Last Friday, we were right here and then we came all the way up. So we went from 236 all the way up to 256. All right. That move would have changed your life. Okay. What was the next one? I said Alibaba, right? I said Alibaba and I said it rejected off 192. We could potentially come down to 148. right? Let's see what happens. Now let's go to what Alibaba and let's see what they did. All right. So Alibaba last week, this was on Friday. Okay, this was on Friday. So we gapped up here, and then we didn't get above this level right here, this 170 level. We did not get above it, right? So we came back down, we failed to go down, we came back up, we failed to go up. Then we had a bearish 3-bar. Now we got a bearish bullish bar, right? Bullish bear 3-bar. So here's what's about to happen on Alibaba. If we get above here, then we could go back to the upside. All right. But that's what happened last week. We didn't blast off because the markets, things were still going on with China. Right. And as you can see, right, here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Even though Alibaba didn't make a V-shaped recovery and just go right back to the upside, it did not sell off any lower than where it sold off on Friday. Right. This is very, very, very important because it held this level right here. Because it held this level right here, that means that we are going to be going back to the upside, but it's like the market sentiment just has to change, and all of this stuff with Trump and China has to die down. And once that dies down and it clears up, Alibaba is going right back up to 200 or 192, and then it's going to go touch 200. All right. So that's Alibaba. And then I also called DraftKings, okay, DKNG. I call DraftKings right here. And then we have, I said it's at a demand zone. It could come down to 29, but we could bounce back and we could go up to 40, right? So let's see what DraftKings did. DKNG. All right, so on Friday, where were they at? They were right here, okay, at $32. And then they came up. So they came all the way up to $36, right? So they came from 32 to 36. All right. I was actually in a swing trade. I got out in profit. I actually ended up getting in a little bit. I got in around this area right here like a week and a half ago. I added down here. Okay. And then it came up, came down, and then I got out of profit right there. But it made a $4 move, and so if you would have took that, you would have made some good money on that. So that was DraftKings right there. Okay. So my watch list last week, basically it was 2 for 3 when you think about it, right? Alibaba, you could have made a little bit of money, but it kind of consolidated inside of that range. It didn't break below support. It didn't break above resistance yet, right? So I think that over the next couple weeks, Alibaba will do that. But Google and DraftKings, they definitely made a nice move. And if you would have played that, you would have made some money. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over to SPY and we're going to go over to IWM. Okay. I always want to make sure that I give you guys the levels for the indexes first. Okay. Because indexes are holding hundreds of companies, right? They're tracking hundreds of companies. So I want you guys to be able to know the levels for the indexes first. And then we're going to go over and we're going to go to the actual stocks and my setups for actual stocks. Okay. But you guys can make a lot of money on the SPY and the IWM the same way you can make a lot of money on stocks. What matters more is how you take these trades. Okay. How are you executing? Are you getting in trades too early? Are you getting in trades too late? If you're getting in trades too late, what happens is you are going to have a lot of drawdown and very small profit. Okay. So let's go to SPY and let's go to the IWM and let's go break down the levels for this week, right? And also let's break down what happened last week, right? So we got the SPY right here. Let's go and in here. All right, so we got the SPY right here. And this is on the daily time frame. The weekly shows that we're on a 1 bar. So we're on a 312 right now, okay? So first things first, let's go to the daily time frame real quick. All right, so and we on a 212. So you got a couple levels that I want you guys to pay attention to for the SPY. Now we have a big order block right here. More sellers are sitting here than buyers right now. Okay. And then we got this fair value gap right here, but we on a 212 on a daily, right? And we on a 312 on a weekly. So what that tells me is we are going to be going up as long as we can get above 665. Okay. And on the weekly time frame, if we can get above 670, then we really gonna blast off. All right. So let's focus on the daily. This is last week's levels right here. All right. So let's go to the daily time frame real quick. All right. So I would say calls above 665.73. All right. Calls above 665.73. All right. And then this is a 212 bullish reversal. That's what that would be. Now it could reject right here at 667.18. Okay. So I want you guys to pay attention to 667.18. All right. 667.18 is the area where it could reject. If we can get above 667.18, then we're going to be coming up to 670. All right. And on a weekly time frame, if we can get above 670.21, then we're going to be headed to 674. That's all-time highs. And then we're going to try to retest those all-time highs. Okay. So calls above 665.73 off the daily time frame is what I would be paying attention to. Now, if we do go bearish and we flip bearish, then I'm going to say puts below 658.22. All right. Puts below 658.72. All right. That's what I said, right? 658.72 or 22. Yeah, 658.22. Not 72. All right. Puts below 658.22. So that's what I want to pay attention. As long as we stay above 658.22, then we're bullish. All right. So what could happen is we could come down to 659, to 658, to 660, right? And then what we could end up doing is we could bounce off of there and then we could go back to the upside. All right. So that's what I'm seeing on a daily time frame right here on the SPY. This was last Friday. All right. Not this past Friday, but the Friday before, going into the week on Monday. This was a 312, and then we had a bullish 3-bar right here, and then we ended up going up. We failed to go higher. We came down, and now we consolidated on Friday. All right. It looks like a green, and we got momentum to the upside, but I need you guys to understand that on Friday we consolidated. Okay. So we really didn't go anywhere. We didn't break out. Okay. We had a big range here, and we stayed inside of that range. All right. So these are your levels for SPY. Okay. Let's go to IWM. And real quick on the SPY, what I do want to say is I want you guys to be careful because we do have a gap to fill, right? Well, we did fill it right here. We actually filled it right here, so you actually don't have to worry about that anymore. All right. Yeah, we have a little bit more to go. This is Monday. We have a little bit more to go, but don't worry about it too much. On the IWM, I'll show you guys that. So on IWM, this is what we got here. Okay, I know there's a lot of lines, so don't worry about that. Let's just focus on what's going on right now, okay? Now this is on Monday. So on Friday, we came all the way down here and then we gapped up, right? Now we do have a gap to the downside here, and it coincides with this order block right here, right? So on Friday here, we gapped up on Monday. Now we came down a little bit to 240, but we do have a gap to fill all the way down to 237.64, okay? So I'm going to put a gap fill down to 237. Where we at? 237.80. Okay. 237.80. All right. That's where it will be complete at. All right. Where it will start at is like 240.34. So I'm going to put 240.34. All right. So if we come below 240.34, then we could come down to 237.80 to fill that gap. If we come down there to 237.80, I would not expect to be there too long. We could come down there, right, and just come down there real quick, fill that gap, and then go to the upside. All right. But if we're on a fail two down on the daily, on the weekly, this is a 2-up candle, but there's a lot of selling pressure right here off the weekly time frame. Okay. So this is what you want to pay attention to. A lot of sellers stepped in on a weekly time frame, but on a daily time frame, we started to push up on Friday. Okay, so on Friday, what I would be paying attention to is this 245.15 level. Okay, so I'm gonna say calls above 245.15. All right. If we get above 245.15, then we could be going up. Now, a level I want you guys to pay attention to is going to be 246.11. This is going to be an area where it could reject that. Okay. So resistance is 246.11. All right. 246.11. Now, it's right here. If we get above 246.11, then we're going to be coming up to test right here at 251. Okay, but we are going to need to get above 247.18 and also 248.50. Okay, so those are some levels, but I want to say the resistance is going to be 246.11. Okay. 246.11 is going to be your resistance. If we get above 245.15, you can enter in the calls. If you're in calls right here and you ride it up to 246.11, just pay attention to see if it rejects or if it pushes through. If it pushes through, then you can stay in the trade. Okay. Now, if we do go bearish, then I would say 241.52. Okay. Puts below 241.52. All right. That's what I'll be looking at right there. 241.52 for puts below. Okay. If we get below 241.52 and then we come down to 240.34, then we could be coming to fill this gap down here at 237.80. All right. So this is the IWM right here. This is what I'll be paying attention to. But if we do get above this 246.11, we could go parabolic and we could go right back up to 251 and then try to retest these all-time highs right here at 250, and then potentially go to like 244 or 250, 254. Okay, so that's the IWM right there. We had some selling pressure last week and a week before that, but we kind of been able to rebound a little bit and stay right where we at. So that's the SPY, and that's also IWM. Okay, so those are my indexes. All right, so those are the indexes that I'm looking at, and the SPY and IWM every week I always cover these right here. Now, next up, we're gonna go over my my top 3 setups for the week. Okay, my top 3 setups for this week coming up. Now, I always want to look for explosive setups. I'm always looking for explosive setups. That's why majority of the time, if the market don't go crazy or Trump don't tweet, my trades are going to hit, right? Because at this point, if you haven't not been watching me for this whole year, you will see that the things that I call, they be going crazy. All right. So now we're going to go to the watch list. Okay. And we're going to break it down. So first up is going to be Intel, okay, INTC. They're flagging on the daily time frame, okay? Let's go to the charts and let me show you guys what I'm seeing with Intel. All right, let's go to INTC. Now on a daily time frame right here, what do you guys see? What y'all see? Put it in the comments what you see, right? We got a bull flag right here. Okay. Boom. It's flagging right here on the daily time frame. All right. Boom. And then we got boom right there. Okay. On the daily, if you go to the weekly time frame, what do we have? We have a failed 2 down candle right there. All right. After it came up here, it's kind of consolidated. You can see the consolidation on the daily time frame a little more, right? Pay attention. We tried to go up, we failed. Tried to go down, we failed. Tried to go down, we failed. Tried to go down, we failed. Came up a little bit. Seller stepped in. Tried to go down, failed. Came down a little bit lower, we bounced. We went to the upside. We tried to go up, we failed. But then we got a bullish 3 bar right here, okay? So we're just going up and down in this little area right here, right? We making some lows, touching some lows, bouncing, touching some highs, bouncing, okay? So what I'm looking at on Intel, and we got this order block right here. We're sitting right there, right? If we can get above 38.38, enter in the calls for Intel, okay, right here. Now we could go up here to 39.71. Now, if you want to be conservative, you could wait until we get above 39.71. But from 38.38 to 39.71 on a stock that's only trading at $38 is a very, very nice, that's a nice move right there, okay? But if you want to wait and be conservative, wait until we get above 39.71. That's why I put entry number 2. Right now, if you zoom out, the next target would be right here at $45. As you can see, we have no resistance here. Okay, so once we get above 39.71, Intel is going to go absolutely crazy. And this week, they actually have earnings, right? They actually have earnings this week. So that could be what sends them up, right? So they had a very good quarter last quarter. So I do think that they're going to end up going higher. All right. So we could see them go up to $45, right? And then potentially sell off and then come right back down here and then try to go back higher. All right. So that's Intel. That's what I'm looking at. Now let's go to the next setup, right? What do we have? We got IONQ. Okay. Let's look at IONQ. This is a very beautiful setup right here. All right, check this out. On the weekly, we sold off heavy, right? We got a 3-bar, but let's look at this right here on the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we're sitting right here in this order block right here, okay? Now, last time we came around this area, look what happened. I want y'all to pay attention to this. Last time we came around this order block right here, look what we did. We shot all the way up to $82 from this area, right? And that was at $60.24. Right now, we close at $62.96, right? So we could come a little bit lower at $60 and then we could bounce, okay? Because this is not a failed 2 down yet. Or we could bounce here. Now, here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. If we get above 65.70, right? Enter in the calls. Calls above 65.70. Now, the first area that it can reject is going to be right here at 68.27, right? It could reject at 68.27, but to go from 65.70 to 68.27, that's a nice move right there, right? Now, that's IONQ. Like I say, we could come a little bit lower and then we could bounce and then go higher because it bounced off of $60 before and now we're at 62, but it did come down to 61. All right. So I just want to prepare you guys for both sides of everything. All right. Now with this trade right here, I'm only looking at it to the upside, right? Because I see that we established support. We got these levels right here and we could bounce and we could go higher. All right. So calls above 65.70 for IONQ. I think that this could be a banger. And what do I always say? Buy low, sell high. That is the name of the game. Buy low and sell high. All right. And then the other setup, the third setup that we have is going to be Shopify. I really like this setup right here, okay? We got Shopify. Let's go look at it real quick. All right. So we got Shop right here. Okay. Now let's check out Shopify. Look at this right here. So we came down, right? And we bounced and we went higher. We came all the way up to test this 164.97. All right. Pay attention, y'all. This is what stock's gonna do. They're gonna always test. So they came up here and it tested and it rejected and it came back down. But it came down and then it failed to go lower. It failed to go lower and look what happened. Now we could be coming up. So if we can get above 158.74, I want you guys to enter in the calls, okay? Your first level of a rejection is going to be 164.97. So that's going to be my price target for this. If we get above 158.74, we go into 164.97. All right. And if we do get above that, then we could be coming to 169.74. All right. We could see a little bit of resistance around 167, right? But 169.74 will be the ultimate price target. And then this, we have all-time highs sitting right here at 176. All right. So calls above 158. We came down, we pulled back, we bounced, we rejected, we came right back down, and then we failed to go lower. Now, if we get above here, then we coming right back up to 164. All right. So that's what I'm seeing on Shopify. I really, really like this setup right here. All of these setups I like, but I like Shopify. I like Intel. I like how Shopify moves. I like how IONQ moves. And those two stocks, Shopify and IONQ, they both came down first. Okay. So it's like, you got to always know that when a stock has come down some, it's more likely for the stock to go up, right? If a stock is going up, it's a little bit harder to be like, it's going to keep going up depending on how much it's gone up. Okay. So that is Shopify. So we got IONQ, right? We also have Shopify. Okay. And we also have Intel. Those are the three stocks that I'm looking at this week. Those are the setups. I just gave you guys the support levels, the resistance levels. I gave you guys the whole breakdown and the whole strategy. All right. Also remember, like I say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night, I'm going to be just doing a live charting session. So be sure to tap in with that. You guys going to be seeing the exact process on how I build out these levels and what stocks I'm going to be looking at for the next day. All right. So I hope that this video helped you guys. I hope you guys are ready to make money this week. I hope y'all are ready to change our lives this week. Okay. Be sure to be disciplined. Don't try to get in front of these trades. Okay. This is a very volatile month, a very volatile market. All right. Be sure to be patient as well. All right. If you guys want to join the Prosperity Collective, click the link in the description. Come trade with us. Come build wealth with us. Come make money with us. All right. And we do it in real time. Like I always say in every single video, I want you to say it with me. All right. Get out your head and go get into this world, because your head is a dangerous place to live. All right, y'all. And also remember, the more you study, the less you worry. All right. I appreciate y'all time. Y'all stay smooth, man. We're going to have an incredible week, and I'm going to see you guys on tomorrow's video, or I'm going to see you inside of the Discord. All right. Y'all stay smooth, man. Peace.